week, bro.
Only once a week, and trust me, it's more than I can cope with. It is Edge Radio Australia, time for Crypto Hour of Power. Now, this is a bit strange.
Yes.
Very strange. And I'm not just talking about, of course, Brandon. No.
My head.
That's right. We normally, of course, we do the Crypto Hour of Power purely as a radio show. Today, we've got the man in the flesh and a fantastic guest. So we thought, why not? Let's get comfy on the couch and have a bit of a conversation, mate. Now, would you like to do the introductions here, Brett?
Yes, I'll do the introductions. We are covering crypto today, but we're also going to be talking about security and sort of, making sure that not only are you secure on the internet, but people aren't following you or using your data and that sort of thing. So we have a special guest in today. His name is Graham. He is from a bank vault. And we're going to be going into that in great detail and also talking about crypto and how to secure wallets and disappear off the internet, that sort of stuff. All the things that we don't want the deep state and governments and all that following us. Yeah, because, not a big fan of government.
I've never noticed that, Brandon. Never. Like, you've always been so pro-government.
So I'd like to welcome you, Graham.
Thank you. It sounds like you just plucked me out of a bank vault.
That's right, brother.
Oh, geez, double play on the name. I like that very much.
Now, Graham spends most of his time in San Francisco, so don't judge him on that, people. All right? All right. So great to have you here, Graham. Well, what we'll do is we'll start off with, obviously, a little bit about your backgrounds, and then we'll go into what you're currently doing, and then we'll sort of take it from there. Now, when you go into your background, we don't need your whole resume, just a brief one. I've had people on here before where it's like 35 minutes later, they're still talking.
No.
So over to you, mate.
Look, I'm a tech entrepreneur. My name's Graham Speak. I run a company called Bank Vault Cybersecurity. So I actually run an innovation team. We've been doing this for many years, and we develop deep tech. So it's typically around securing users when they're logging into the internet so that they cannot be hacked.
Right.
And we can now apply that to cryptocurrency as well.
Massively important. Let's be frank. We're all linked into the old internet. We're all vulnerable. And when you leave your house every day or you leave your business, you lock the doors, right? And there's a reason. And we've got to obviously do the same sort of thing when it comes to the internet.
I think it's like when we were growing up as kids, we were taught to be careful when you're crossing the road. You look right, you look left, you be careful. Because the roads became dangerous.
Sure.
And it's the same with the internet now. It used to be pretty much a free-for-all, but now it is dangerous. And the level of hacking that's going on is going through the roof. And I mean exponential growth.
It just doesn't stop.
It is relentless. Like when I got into this industry, like I was running a cloud computing infrastructure technology company. And we pivoted into this in 2015. And the global cybersecurity problem then was $500 billion.
What?
It's huge. 2 or 3 years ago, it was 6 trillion.
Wow.
It's exponential. It doesn't
11x.
go back. I mean, I can tell you there was an article you guys or your audience might have seen about 10, 14 days ago. 30,000 Australian banking credentials had been hacked off people's own devices. This is called info-stealer malware.
Right.
At the same time, Forbes produced an article where they said there was 1.7 billion passwords for sale on the dark web that have been put there in the last 12 months.
No way.
And they revised that. Now, these statistics are mind-boggling, but I'll just distill to something you can all grasp. But that they increased that from 1.7 billion. They revised it to 19 billion 5 days later.
5 days later.
It was ridiculous.
Well, Graham, thanks so much for coming in and terrifying me. That's great, mate.
But the number I think I'd like people to kind of grasp and remember is that the incidences of what they call info-stealer malware. This is malware that sits on your devices that you cannot see. It's undetectable.
Okay.
The infections have grown. It's far more than cookies. Okay. You can siphon cookies. This has grown 5-fold in the last 12 months, 500%. So this is the problem now. Huge. It is very simple for me or a hacker to infect your machine. It's undetectable.
Right. Undetectable.
It's undetectable. It can sit there for months. According to Semantic, it exists on your PC for, on average, I think it's 10 months before they sting you. And they know everything. Okay. They got your login credentials to your bank accounts. It's very simple to pick up your crypto private keys. This is why you see so much hacking going on into your crypto exchanges, etc. I know your dog's first name. I know your mother's maiden name. I've got everything.
Right.
Yeah. I'm now one step away from tricking you to revealing your second factor, which I can do because I've got control of your browser.
Yeah. Wow.
And I've tricked you. You give it to me. That one-time passcode can be used, maybe just, it's issued once, but it can be used multiple times in, say, the next 35 seconds.
This is ultimately big business. Okay, this isn't some sort of little setup in a room in the back of Baghdad. I don't know, whatever. These are massive businesses organised, and that's what they're doing. That's all about cyber crime.
And it's automated.
Yeah,
these are robots.
Oh, okay.
It's automated,
right?
So people think that I'm too small to be a target. Who's going to care about me?
Yeah,
it's not personal. We all use the same devices. We are all equally vulnerable, and these are software robots out there on the internet.
See, one of the things I really love about crypto is the fact that, it's decentralized. Your crypto and your keys and all that sort of carry on, and the fact that you've got, your control of your own destiny, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I also like the fact that when you're looking at I don't know what's what I'm searching for. Gee, I'm having a mental blank here. What is the great word that I'm looking for about the contracts?
Smart contracts.
Smart contracts, right? And the fact that so much can be protected in that sort of thing, right? Now, that to me is a big plus. When we're talking about these people and these organisations and this way of doing business, if you want to call it business, are they after that sort of thing too? Can they break into a smart contract for a start?
Okay, so the smart contract exists on the blockchain. Most of the cyber attacks target the end user's device, their PC, their smartphone.
Which is the most vulnerable part.
And I'm talking more than 99% of cyber attacks target. That's where it all starts. So it's very, very difficult to break the blockchain.
I would think so.
You would need a quantum computer, and we don't have quantum computing yet.
Gotcha.
So the attack surface that I'm focused on is the major attack surface. It's your PC, your smartphone.
Yeah, the reason I kind of asked
that. You can't trust that. And there's a few more varieties of attacks I can explain.
Well, you go for it.
I'm interrupting you.
No, not at all. Not at all. We've got you here because you're the expert. I know nothing.
Fully loaded.
Yeah. I'm the guy. Look, I've got a keyboard in front of me. I'm looking for the any key. Okay, I'm not good at this. This is not my domain. No, but why I sort of say about this is because I think that with crypto, there's sort of a perception with cryptos by some people still in the market. To me, there's a lot more safety than your own your normal bank account. When you hear about big banks being constantly under attack and being compromised, I think, I don't know, it makes me want to go the other way.
There's a very real issue here. When the banks are frequently breached. It's published in their annual reports. These are public companies. It is two-factor authentication. There's a variety of tricks and techniques you can use to defeat this, and it does happen. So it's not the complete solution. Your crypto, having that in a secure wallet. What does that mean? Well, it means it's typically a secure wallet. It's typically a hardware wallet. Is your 64-character private key is now held on in a piece of paper in a safe, or written down in your head, or is in a nano ledger, a Trezor, or something like this. And the transaction is done kind of, it's offline. That's the gold standard.
That's kind of where I'm going.
Exactly.
That's it. You can take that and you can you've got control there, okay? And you've got that gold standard. Whereas I do feel very, very, very vulnerable when it comes to banking now. I really do.
Let me spin it this way. So you have to log into your bank account, but you also have to log into the blockchain.
Okay.
You're going to do that from a PC or a smartphone. Or you've got your nano ledger or Trezor, right, which is it's a trick to do the calculation off chain or offline, kind of.
Until you plug it in.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then you're plugged in again. So the issue is the end user device. This is what I want people to understand. I'm just going to sprout off a couple of other things quickly. People talk about using password managers because we need to have different passwords for everything. Yes, but a password manager is not secure.
When it loads attack vector, really.
When it loads your encrypted password into a web form, it's clear text, no longer encrypted. You haven't pressed transmit yet. There's a man in the browser.
So that time there, it's vulnerable.
They can watch
totally.
Wow.
A bit of an email attachment you've got with a keylogger or what we call info stealer malware on your device now it's not detectable. It's legitimate code. It's allowed to be there. It's going to do whatever it likes. And so this can now copy session cookies and tokens. So it can now copy that off to another device and log into that, your crypto exchange. While you're logged in, it just looks like you're coming in from another device. And you've already passed the two-factor authentication step. You're in there.
Yep.
Banking, same. So there's a whole variety of these issues, and there is a solution. I've invented this.
I'm so glad
my
you said
team
that.
invented this
I'm about to say, Graham, you've scared the hell out of me. Now, but I'm about solutions. So, yeah, I'm really glad to hear that, Russ, and I'd like to know what they are. That'd be great.
Yeah, and look, I'll just tell you the background to this. So this is something that we invented 10 years ago. We've been selling this technology to real estate agents, property conveyancers, lawyers to protect trust accounts, treasury, where there's a lot of money at stake and it absolutely must go through without a problem. And what happened, I was flying back from San Francisco to Australia at Christmas, and I spent 10 days in China. And I'm working quite happily on our technology without a thought in the world. And I just suddenly realized on the last day, it's like, I'm just taking this for granted. And I'm working off my mobile phone as a hotspot. Everything's fine. What happens if I try to do this through the Chinese firewall?
No.
So it was a thought experiment. And of course it didn't work. And 20 seconds to echo characters, it's impractical, right? So, so this makes sense. So the Chinese want to, they need a sense of their population for their own ends. But business people, we need to book hotels. We need to book flights. Of course I can work uncensored.
Sure.
But the moment I landed in Shanghai, my mobile phone is on global roaming, connected to the local telco network. They know I'm foreign. For billing purposes, they've got to start tracking it. They're monitoring everything I'm doing and, of course, recording. And this is state-sponsored surveillance, and every country does this. It's not China.
Yeah, no, I realise that.
So this is why we're told to use a VPN. Great. Okay, a VPN doesn't stop anything. It's a long pipe with the other ends in a different country.
Okay.
Everything comes through a VPN unfiltered. That email attachment with the keylogger, the JavaScript through to your browser with the man of the browser attack, it's all there. VPN does nothing for you. And
so you are a fan or not a fan of VPNs?
I think it's utterly useless.
Unless you want to watch something from another TV show from another country.
That's what you want to watch a sports show in England or something.
Yeah.
So what I was using and what we invented 10 years ago is still as relevant today. And we're 5 or 6 generations further on now. It's what I call a fortified VPN.
Right.
So what we're doing is you go to the website, you click a button, we build a virtual machine on the other side of the internet. It could be on the other side of the moon in a different country.
Okay.
We do that in 1 second. So it's a pristine new machine. It's never existed.
Okay.
It's built in 1 second, and our patents on this have been granted worldwide. We were doing this in 1 second when Amazon was taking 30, 40 minutes.
Okay.
So it's original tech.
Huge difference.
Yep. So pristine new machine. The image of that machine is now transmitted to my screen, to my browser as an image. So it looks like it's running locally, but it's not.
Right.
Now, there's no software installed. There is no setup. Okay, this is instant. That's an encrypted connection. Encryption has not yet been broken. You need a quantum computer to do that. So I'm streaming pixels, and pixels cannot carry code.
I didn't know that.
No, there's no way for a hack to actually cross that barrier. It's impossible. So now we've also got to enter, let's say, a password or a 64-character private key or your 12-word crypto phrase to reconstruct your wallet. We do that through another invention of ours called an invisible encrypted keyboard.
Okay.
So this is an illusion that we set up on your phone.
Right.
It's you scan a QR code, your phone then pops up a keyboard magically. It's your browser. And it's literally
I've actually done this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's literally a photograph. It could be pictures of fish, Chinese characters.
Right.
But we put the alphabet there.
Right.
Now, we set up encoded cells on the screen. If you touch the cell above the photograph of the letter A, instead of generating 1 character, A, we're going to generate maybe 48 characters. And the only place in the universe that can interpret that is that remote virtual machine that was only set up 30 seconds ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And if it's in the password field or something like this, it'll look like an echo. It'll echo an asterisk back onto the screen.
Okay.
So there's nothing on your device that can intercept anything other than an asterisk. There is no keyboard on your phone. That is an illusion. There is nothing on your phone that can record that. And if you're entering in, say, a username and a password off different devices, the only place that can actually merge these together is that virtual machine that has never existed and is invisible from the internet.
And when you stop using it, does the virtual machine disappear?
It evaporates without trace.
Look at that.
There is no cookies. There is no trace. Yep.
Wow.
So you're secure, you're anonymous, and untraceable from any malware on your device or surveillance on the network. It's rock solid. And blind Freddy can see it when they use it. It's like, this is actually straightforward.
Yeah, we just jumped online and actually did it the other day with me and Nish, and I was like, fuck, it can't be this easy.
It can't be this easy.
It cannot be this easy. Then he explained the tech behind it, and I'm like, oh my God.
It's one of those things that, like, the principles, the foundations, this are really obvious. Like, anyone can understand it. It's not rocket science.
Graham, you're actually stealing words out of my mouth. I was about literally to say, like, there's no way in the world I'll ever understand the coding or the tech, right?
Yeah.
But the principle of it and the way that you've just explained it, that makes it's user friendly. You bring it down to an interface that we're all familiar with, a keyboard, right?
Exactly.
And then that interprets that, Enigma code style, off it goes.
And the ease of this is literally, you go to our site, click the button, it's built in a second and up on screen.
Wow.
Off you go. Do what you like.
Tech at a level
and of course, I'll say you can do more than this. Whether you're logging into your bank account or whether you're logging into your crypto exchange or your crypto wallet, let's say that you've received an email from somebody that you just think doesn't quite sit right.
What, like someone that is from Zimbabwe that needs $1 million to release some money or something?
Oh, that. See, that was my cousin, apparently.
Someone like that, hypothetically.
Right? Yeah, you don't want to open up that malware on your own machine. You can't, but sometimes it's somebody that you know and you kind of want to. Well, you can open that up in this virtual remote machine.
Yeah,
it's a burn machine.
I had that just literally today. Sorry, but I was literally going through, and it was from somebody I know. I know them well, but something doesn't seem right. I don't even know what it is. I think it may even be their phrasing looks wrong, right? And I was like, okay, look, if I open this, am I going to open myself to some vulnerability here, or what's going to be the case? Quite frankly, I just left it. So using your system, there's a way around that.
You can open this up and look at it with complete immunity.
Wow.
It's on a burn machine on the other side of the moon. And if it doesn't, you can look at it. Yeah, if this is not smelling right, just close down, it's gone. It could be a link that somebody in Facebook sends you. I've received that. One of my friends sends me a link. It's like, this is out of context. It doesn't feel right. Yeah. You can use this for that purpose as well.
Fake exchanges, everything.
Yeah. And the process here is, if you receive an email where you want to click on a link and log you into an exchange, and it may be a phishing attack. Yeah. No, this using our system forces you to actually deliberately enter the correct URL. So you're going through from inception. There's no guarantee about disrupting social engineering, but this certainly does disrupt it.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of phishing attacks, they just have a phone call, contact you on Facebook, just unwanted,
Look, social media is there's such risk now. Friend requests, you get them left, right and center all the time. They're almost always very pretty girls. And you think to yourself,
well, their picture is anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The temptation. Your thumb is hovering. No. But you just don't know. And I mean, it also becomes difficult if you're in business or you've got a large network. I know a lot of people. So you think, do I know them? And it's just another little sneaky way that people are getting into your information.
Yeah, they do all sorts of stuff. Hey, we've recovered, a Bitcoin out of a wallet that owns to you, all sorts of stuff, and they're getting more sophisticated in it. But what I like about your program is that it's kind of like having, I don't know, someone that's smarter than you looking over you, just going, don't do that, dude. Do not do that, dude.
The little angel and devils on the shoulders, really, mate.
But what if it's my next wife? Don't do it, man. Don't do it, man.
Honestly, Graham, this is I've never known this kind of level of tech. Or that styling. I just think it's really, really clever, because what frightens me about all of this, as far as tech-wise, is I just in over my head. Yeah. And the fact that you can bring it back to a Homer Simpson level, right?
Yeah.
Where
it's just important.
It really
look,
is.
We got selected. There's a very exclusive event called the Australian Cyber Exchange, run in Sydney. It's actually hosted and sponsored completely by the Commonwealth Bank.
Okay.
And they select the heads of, it's selected by the heads of basically cybersecurity and government and banking and insurance and everything. Right. And there were 26 innovators selected to exhibit and present, and we won.
Good on you.
So this was a few weeks ago. So that was nice.
Just slightly.
Yeah, no,
very cool.
It was good. So what we're doing is real. It's credible. We've been doing it for 10 years. So there's the background. We're not just a, and we've got 14 patents granted already. There's more coming.
And that's not easy. Okay.
Oh my God. No. It's hard, like millions of dollars now of money in the patents. And so, so the tech is real, but the market opportunity is really attractive. This is why we've actually managed to secure the investment that we have, and looking for more investment again now. So you keep, it's just in Silicon Valley, you're constantly spinning up the flywheel.
Of course.
But we're addressing a real problem in the market that is growing. The problem is not going away. It gets worse. And I think the thing I want to bring in now is really something that your listeners will be starting to become aware of, is the use of AI agents on your devices.
Actually going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to a podcast on the way here, and they were talking about the exponential growth of AI. And I've been living off AI over the last 6 months. I literally use it for everything. Yeah. And it's kind of frightening at how quickly it's growing, and it's kind of even tailored to me.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, obviously scammers are going to start using AI. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of not so good things being used by it.
It's more direct though. These AI agents are now on our devices. They're embedded there. They are part of our workflow. They're embedded there? Yes.
In what way?
I went for a swim the other night by accident.
That's funny.
I got pulled off a boat. It was my friend, and he didn't mean to, but I ended up in the water. So my glasses are now 5 meters down, and my mobile phone is brand new as of last night. So I can tell you that these things by default now install AI agents.
Okay.
They want to get smarter. Whether it's Google, whether it's Apple.
Oh, we see them all the time. The Gemini and things like that pop up.
Correct. Yeah. Now, Microsoft's head of AI said their intent is to have this be your closest friend.
Yep.
It will see what you see. It'll read your screen. It's also got a camera.
My closest friend does not want to know about my history. No. Keep off my browser, mate.
It will hear what you hear. Yep. These things have got phones. And it will develop a body of knowledge about you that it will know what you know. It'll be your most intimate partner.
Targeted advertising.
Yep.
There's also right now what they call client-side scanning. So devices, Apple, Google, Microsoft devices are scanning for things that could be malware. Okay. Now it's doing that automatically. Right. And of course it's sending these signatures and that back to head office. You have no control over who at head office is seeing that, interpreting that, whether they're sending it on to other things. And so you actually cannot trust your own device.
Well, like I often say now about the fact that if it's free, then you're the product.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what it is. This is interesting, and maybe you can help me out with this one. Because I want balanced news, for argument's sake, I literally have different devices that have effectively different identity. So I have an iPad who's left wing.
Oh.
Okay. Yep. And I have one that's right wing. Okay. And therefore I get different sets of news.
Oh, you're balanced. Yeah. Well, I try to do the same.
Yeah. Try and do that. And then I use the old grey matter to go, okay, I'm going to look at both and I'll figure out who's telling the truth here, where we actually fit. Yeah. Ridiculous in this world that we have to do that. And there's actually services that will do that for you now. So, you don't have to have too many iPads or whatever, or tablets. But it's the algorithms are so strong that you've almost got to be careful and conscious to make sure it's not picking up other information. So I have to have the microphone turned off and the camera turned off.
Yes.
So that they actually work effectively. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is real, and this is now on our devices. So we are blindly trusting our devices. And the question you've got to ask yourself is that what you want when you are doing a transaction that is worth
Yes.
your life savings.
Graham, I watched Terminator. Okay, I know enough now. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine if you're like searching for cat videos, you know what I mean? But when you're dealing with finance and money and stuff like that, you want to be on a different level.
There are some transactions that are critically important and have to be protected. And that's so in essence, this is where we fit. You can't trust your device. Don't trust it. This is like going down the street using a brand new laptop, opening the lid, using it once and throwing it away. And we're using the cloud to do this. You can do this in a second. Costs a peanut. And you do your transaction, you do whatever you like. We can guarantee the integrity of our environment. Obviously, our reputation is at stake. We're using software that has been vetted by the industry as being what they call LTS software, long-term support software, as secure as it can be. This sort of software is also open source. It's Linux-based.
Oh, okay.
So it scales massively, and it's as credible as it can be.
So being Linux-based, does that make it less vulnerable to be?
Yeah, there's a lot less. The whole internet backbone, all the servers of all the services that you use on the online are running on Linux.
Yeah. Okay.
And the internet routing, etc., is this also goes back to various versions of Unix. So it's what runs the internet. So not your Microsoft desktop or your Apple PC,
sure,
but this is the backbone. So we use that same technology. So it's hardened for purpose.
Makes sense.
Obviously, we're upgrading it. It's we used to call this future-proof computing built in seconds, because every time you log in, we're building another machine. We do that within a second. These are automatically using the latest LTS versions of software. So if you log off, there's a new version of, say, Firefox introduced or Brave. You will automatically inherit that on the next login. So you log off, you log back in, bang.
That quick, boom, instantaneous.
Well, upgrades don't happen that frequently, but that's the architecture.
Sure.
So the architecture we created is really clever, and that's what the patents were granted on worldwide.
I mean, obviously, with Orange Brick Road, you're all about education. Right. Okay. And big part of the education is obviously the safety of commerce, with your crypto. So having had this conversation, mate, I can see why you've got Graham here.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, it makes a big play. Like, it really does. I mean, people go to your website, whatever, they're looking at the going through links, and I'm quite sure you'd have a link going through to Graham.
Yeah, we're sorting that out. We're having a meeting later on this week, and we're sorting out the landing page. It's already been built, and we've got to put up some content and stuff like that, but we're working through it. What is the type of clientele that are using this or should be using this?
So we've geared it so that it's accessible to any professional. It's probably not the product that a consumer in the street would use.
Okay.
But an individual that is technically savvy, enough to know that there's a problem.
Sure.
That's our target. So anything from I will call them professionals. If you're a professional, you know what you're doing. This is a tool that you can use.
Okay.
It doesn't require you to install any software or anything. It's literally a service. And we're targeting also higher up. I mean, it's used every day by trustees of trust accounts.
Okay.
Accountants, treasury, accountants, lawyers. That's been our market for the
I'll be
last
honest,
10 years.
I think you should be looking mass market because, we all do our banking on our phones. Okay. It's just crazy. It's almost at the traffic lights we're doing our banking, right?
Yep.
We've become that blasé about it.
Yep.
So, whatever, whether it's, $5 or 5 billion in your account, it should be protected.
Exactly. So I just mentioned, when we pivoted into this space, which was 10 years ago, it was, we called ourselves Bank Vault because we were protecting banking. Okay, that was our horizons have broadened out much more than this now. But we actually won top fintech startup worldwide in 2016 in Silicon Valley.
Okay.
We signed Equifax in 2017. They were going to sell it into their client base, which was hundreds of millions of users. Okay. Equifax, it was a really interesting thing. Equifax, we spent 12 months negotiating the deal, signed it.
Who are they, just by the way?
Equifax is a credit reporting agency. They're one of the three big ones.
Right.
Okay.
Their client base is hundreds of millions of people.
Okay.
Many hundreds of millions of people. And so it was a deal of a lifetime. I thought that was our exit. But In fact, what happened is that after 12 months of negotiating, signing the deal, months of preparation, about to launch, 3 days before launch, they suffered the largest hack in cybersecurity history.
Oh, no way.
163 million Americans lost all their personal data to the hackers. And so the reputation went from the stratosphere to lower than the gutter.
Of course it did. Yeah.
And everybody we were dealing with actually abandoned ship and resigned and left. And so it never got launched by Equifax. But I'm just bringing that as background. What we're talking about here has some real legs. It's got the credibility. It works, and it's still relevant today.
10 years in that level of tech, that's a lifetime. You know what I mean?
It sounds like it. And we are 5 generations in, and the next generation of the technology we're building now, it will include storage. But this is storage. Let me describe it this way. So if you put some important personal data into online storage, you don't want it accessed by anybody.
Of course not.
So imagine that you cannot access that except through a graphical proxy. By graphical proxy, I mean literally an image.
Yeah.
There is no way for malware to get its claws and hooks into that, because it's like a slippery surface.
Yeah, it's not numbers.
You can't hack an image. Right? It's just a streamed image. So this is a really unique idea. Now, imagine I've got some storage in there, and I've got my house details in there, and I'm going to sell my house to you guys. Or you're the property conveyancer. Okay, so I could now share that storage volume with both of you. We are now all looking at this. We've now got a secure data room for all sorts of types of transactions.
Okay.
And you can only access that starting with your mobile phone and perhaps your Face ID. Okay, so we have proof of presence, proof of physical a device, and maybe proof of some knowledge. 3 factors of authentication. We reconstruct that in a second. You're accessing it on screen. You can do your crypto transactions on that with total immunity from any malware. Now, when I was first doing this in 2017, I filed a patent that I thought was relevant for the crypto industry. There was a lot of interest in what we were doing. And I know in about this month in 2018, there was $9 to $23 million a day stolen from the exchanges.
How much?
Between $9 and $23 million per day of crypto. Now, that's what was known.
Yep, that was what was declared.
Most people don't report it. And I can tell you, I had a conversation with somebody here in Perth just a few weeks ago who has had his crypto stolen, and he has no idea how.
Yep.
And this is a sophisticated guy, so it was a lot of money.
Well, this happens in any space. This happens with fiat, everyday good old-fashioned currency.
Yep.
Money gets stolen. Doesn't crypto or whatever, it doesn't matter. Look, fraud is fraud.
It is fraud, exactly, and it happens. So, so I think we have, we're not trying to solve all the cybersecurity issues in the world. Sure. This is a war zone, but we are solving one point problem, which is that more than 99% of cyber attacks target your device. You cannot trust your device, so don't use it. Here's an alternative that you can build in about 1 second and use that.
Wow,
that's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah,
that was cool.
Trump can't build a wall that quick.
So going back to crypto, is this so? This is a way of not only for your wallet, your seed phrase, all that sort of stuff, but actually when you're logging into the exchange.
Yeah, it's just like logging into your bank account. Like my team, our customers, right, never log into the bank from their own devices. From the PCs or workstations. We'll use the bank vault. It's the same with an exchange. You're going to go through your 2-factor process with the exchange, the same as you normally do. But we also, in that machine, we also include some wallets.
Okay.
So HD wallets, hierarchical deterministic wallets, which require you to put in a 12-word phrase as your seed phrase. Now, if you kind of key that in through your keyboard and you've got a keylogger, of course, it's capturing your 12-word seed phrase. You don't want to do that.
No.
So if you use the invisible encrypted keyboard from your phone, this is the illusion we create, and there's nothing on your phone that can intercept it. There's no characters being created on the phone. It's just this entangled connection with the virtual machine. So you enter your 12 words through that. What you should see, ideally on screen, is just asterisks.
Yep.
Some of the wallets, and we right now have the Exodus wallet in there. We started with the Jack's wallet, put Exodus in there. Exodus used to mask it. For some reason, stupid reason, they decided to no longer mask the seed phrase. So it looks as characters. It's like, you really want to be able to mask that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's for the person sitting next to you, right?
Of course.
Camera.
Yeah, 100%.
You mentioned the phone situation. Can you do the exact same thing on your laptop or your
Oh, this will work off it'll work off a tablet. It'll work off a laptop. It will work off a phone, but it's not the ideal interface because it's fairly small.
You shouldn't be doing any crypto on your phone anyway, people. All right. Do not use your phone for crypto.
So many do, mate. So many do. That's good advice.
I do have some on a phone, but only a little bit. You know, I don't have my portfolio on a phone.
Right.
You know,
You
ever.
No.
Ever. Yeah. So tracing back, how can I put it? This scares the shit out of me. You know, it literally, like, well, everything you're talking about is I like the idea of, you know, what I call build, break, build.
Yep.
You know, where you build someone up and then you break them and then you build them back up.
Yep.
You've done the break thing, right? So everyone out there now is broken and doesn't want to touch the keyboard and not even turn onto the internet. I know the first conversation we had, I got off the phone and went, oh, shit, I just should not use the internet anymore. It's scared the living hell out of me, you know. But
you can.
This is a solution which I like, and it's easy. Like, anyone can basically do it. What's the cost associated with it?
Yeah, so that's the right question. So the solutions that we've got online today are $200 a year, or $500 a year.
Australian or US?
If you're outside of Australia, it's US. If you're inside of Australia, it's Australian.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the system automatically detects that, because we just did confusion. There is another price out there for family offices, etc., which is higher again. Okay. But the average person can easily afford this.
Are you looking at putting the prices up? That's pretty bloody cheap.
Yeah, we keep being told it's too cheap. Yeah, all the time.
So get in now, people.
Yeah, actually, there is changes afoot. So yeah.
It's an awful lot of safety for $200 a year.
Yeah, it's nothing, right? Yeah. It's now, you're not going to do everything through this. But when you've got something that you really do need to be careful, or you do really need to be careful with what you're opening. You know, that hot link that your friend has just sent you, that with the cat video that is out of context. He doesn't normally send me cat videos. Yeah, that's when you'd use this.
Yeah, that's
you've got to be discerning, but we're getting into an environment now where, to be honest, listening to what you said, I'd be using it on everything, but that's just me.
And I guess this is one of the what struck me when I was in China. Is like, I take this for granted. I just use it all the time. Brandon, I take your point that you can have the fear of God put into you. I use this. I have no fear.
Yeah, I
understand how it works. Blind Freddy can understand it when they actually use it. I mean, we're talking here, but if I can demonstrate this on a screen, we'll be over in 15 seconds. It's that simple. So why don't you just do that?
I agree.
I sound like a salesman. I don't mean to.
No, mate, you don't. I'll tell you right now, Graham, you do not come across like a salesman. Not at all. In fact, look, I mean, your technology is just, your knowledge is great. It really is. You can tell that you're, I mean, obviously, this is your baby. You're so ingrained in it. It's brilliant. It's really, really brilliant. And I've never heard. Look, I very much care about the security side of things and cybersecurity. I've never heard of a product like this. So to me, this is absolutely just mind blowing.
Yeah, we don't have a direct competitor.
No, it doesn't seem that way.
One of the interesting twists on this happened about 5 years ago. Was we thought we could actually build a better password manager.
Okay.
And I was actually at the RSA Cybersecurity Conference in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And there was a side event run by LastPass. LastPass is a password manager.
Yeah.
There's 43,000 people in town for this event each year. And I thought, wow, I wonder if I could get into this side event, because I've got this idea. I had a potential investor in Sydney who said, look, Graham, I'd love to use your keyboard. But all my passwords are with LastPass. If you guys could do a deal and merge the technology, I'd be in. So this little ball bearing was running around my head. And anyway, I managed to engineer a ticket. Okay. So to set the scene, I'm in a downtown San Francisco rum bar at 5 o'clock in the afternoon with a rum cocktail in my hand.
That's how I like to do business. Beautiful. Yeah.
Walking around trying to see who can I pitch my idea to.
Yeah. Okay.
And incredibly, I got introduced to the guy who was the head of security. This guy, his name is a big, tall German guy called Gerard. And I said, Gerard, I'd like to pitch you. You've got a problem. When your password manager loads my encrypted password into the web form, and I see asterisks, it's actually clear text underneath. It's not encrypted anymore. I haven't pressed transmit yet. If there's a man in the browser or any malware, it's intercepted instantly. And I said, there's nothing you can do to solve that problem, but I've solved that problem. And he cocked his head. He looked at me. He said, well, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And I thought, boom, you've just validated everything I've been thinking for the last 4 years.
Yep.
You can never solve that problem. Your password manager is sitting on one attack surface, a single attack surface.
Yeah.
You can't solve it there. That's why we have two-factor authentication today. My trick was using this keyboard that we created in the web server to set up a handshake over time. So I said, look, let's change cards. I won't tell you how we do it. We can talk later. I walked out. It's 6 o'clock in the afternoon now. I rang my team in Perth. So 6 o'clock in the afternoon, there is 9 o'clock in the morning here. Okay. I said, guys, we're going to build a better password manager and we're going to sell the company to LastPass.
Yeah.
And I'm an engineer. They're engineers. We all think alike and we're like independent wheels spinning on the same axle. So every morning, every afternoon, we'd check in at the same time. And we were all at the same point. We were actually charting a path up a path that had never been trodden before. And it was real. And I got to say, it was exhilarating, unbelievable. You could see the whole world opening up.
Oh, mate, I can see the euphoria of a nerd right now. Yes. It's just amazing. Fantastic.
We ended up filing the patents. Thought it would take us 8 days. It took the patents only 8 weeks. He called it a beast. We filed it 4 hours after filing it. I pitched out a cyber-tech event in New York and we won.
Fantastic.
And it wasn't a password manager. It was actually what they call passwordless authentication.
Nice.
Passwordless.
Nice. What does that mean? I don't know.
You never use a password.
Okay.
You never have to remember or enter credentials again. It's completely seamless.
That's super cool.
It turns out that the passwordless market is 40 times larger than the password management industry.
And does that work off your eye, facial recognition?
It can do those things. Or it can just remember things you've done in the past.
Oh.
Yeah. And so what we do, we combine several of these things together to create multi-factor authentication in one step that's invisible to the user, no setup, no software. So an organization like an exchange or a bank or anyone with a web service online can deploy this technology now in 3 to 30 minutes. Our competitors will take you more months than that. It's invisible to the user. There is no software. It's incredible. Yeah, it's real. Like I can demonstrate, as I said, I could do a demo if we had it live here in seconds. We're going
to organise a demo for in here at some stage and invite a bunch of people. And at some stage, we will also do a webinar with you through Orange Brick Road. If you guys aren't on our newsletter yet, go onto our website, orangebrickroad.com.au. You'll see that we have a free newsletter. The announcement will be coming out in there and also the invites and that sort of stuff for the webinars. We do webinars quite regularly. We just done one on superannuation into crypto. And we're doing another one of that, I think, in 3 weeks. And then we've got another, I think it was with, never mind. All right.
There's a lot coming.
So, the best way to keep up is either through Orange Brick Road social media on Facebook and Twitter and I've been kicked off LinkedIn, so we're trying to read down.
Is that why I couldn't find you?
Oh, there we go.
Yes, I got kicked off LinkedIn, brother.
We share a lot of Orange Brick Road on.
I've been kicked off Facebook several times, but LinkedIn was the first, and also we'll be having your page up on our website too. With we're working that out.
Sure.
We'll have that probably sorted by the weekend, hopefully. All right, we're tying things up. Is there anything else that you'd like to scare us about?
No, I just want to give you guys, it's a fun industry, isn't it? Like it keeps rolling on, and there is new stuff coming in every day. I'm learning. Look, I look like an expert. I'm not. I'm being fed by my team, and it's ongoing. It's such an interesting.
It really is, and we joke about the fear factor, but and it is scary if you don't take the right steps. Okay, and this to me sounds like a quantum leap, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, when you're talking about people's finances too, a lot of money in crypto. You might only have 5, 10, 15, 20 grand in crypto at the moment, but at the top of the bull market, that could be $150,000.
It rolls. It rolls,
yeah.
Sure.
So you're better off setting up security, and for $200, dude, honestly.
Correct.
You need to up that price, man. Like straight up.
Yeah.
After I've bought it.
Give us a minute. Is it so cheap because you got into Bitcoin like when it was like 13 cents, or what happened?
I was in San Francisco. I moved to San Francisco in January 2008, and when the white paper came out in October, I saw it. It was October, August, whatever, September. I saw it. I read the executive summary. I thought, I'm saturated with other stuff. There's so many signals coming in. You're saturated, so it's hard to see the signal above the noise. And I'm not going to do that. I mean, I wish I was interested in actually buying Bitcoin for pizzas back then, because I'd be a billionaire now.
Yes, you would be. There you go.
Not necessarily, because I know certain individuals that got in nice and early, and then when at 10x, they sold it. Oh. You know what I mean? So, and also a lot of people that got in really early also lost it,
I've had multiple misses in my lifetime, but I will tell you that I have exited a few times, and I've been just so delighted it way outperformed the stock market.
Yeah, and property market.
Yeah, it does. Well, that's the thing. You can't deny that.
Yep.
So some hot tips though before we go.
Oh yeah, that's good.
All right, some crypto. Any crypto that you got your eye on at the moment, or you sort of just Bitcoin?
No, I've just sold out my Ether.
Have you?
It was at a peak. It kind of dropped, and then it came up, and I just sold a bunch of it.
Yeah,
well, that's just your opinion. This is obviously not financial advice.
I'm not I take my trading advice from the guys, my buddies back in San Francisco, who are doing it all the time. So I'm not the one to be giving advice.
Yeah, 100%. I know what you mean, because like you were talking about keeping up with security. I mean, it's constantly changing. Crypto is the same thing.
Of course.
I've got a team of like 12 people. And they all specialize in different areas of crypto. So I've just got a good resource.
I'll tell you a funny story. My partner the last 15 years is a biostatistician, mathematician. She's a genius at maths, right? Wow, I thought if I could only get her into crypto, we'll be rich.
Yeah, sure.
Finally did. And so she started day trading.
Right.
Just on the trends. And she developed her own strategies of, as these things start going down, well, I'll just buy more as it goes further. I'll buy more and more and more. Yeah. And started loading up. She did really well.
Dollar cost.
It was so interesting to see a person evolve. Like, she's just a logical thinker.
Day trading I do not recommend. I'm more of an investment thing. But if you've got autism, 100% day trade. If you can sit there. So for all your autistic people out there, get into day trading.
On that bombshell of the I don't even think that's advice. I think it's it's Brandon. Enough said.
100%.
I'll leave it at that.
Sure.
Thanks, guys, for being part of the show.
Thank you, Graham. Pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll have all the details up. We'll put this out on Spotify and, YouTube and all that sort of stuff. I think this gets live streamed again.
Yes, it does.
And all the links will be in the description. In the meantime, contact Aaron.
Oh, thank you, man. I've got nothing to do. I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. All jokes aside, though, get on, subscribe, get onto the old YouTube kind of thing. Yep. Obviously, go to orangebrickroad.com.au.
Newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter, because all the information will be out on that. I also do a daily newsletter that comes out, because I'm on. Check this out. I'm on TikTok now. All right. On Instagram.
No. He's dancing.
I was going to say.
But it is, crazy how social media works and that sort of thing. I mean, I remember years ago I did something that went to 75,000 on Facebook in a matter of a day, right? And everyone was like, my word, like, how that crazy, all that sort of carry on. And it was viral, and I got interviewed by the New York Times because of it and all kind of carry on.
What?
Right? Yeah, it's back in 2017. Anyway, but now, I mean, I did something on TikTok the other day, right? And in 20 odd hours, it had hit 50,000.
Really?
Well, the world is a very strange place.
Yes.
And I wasn't dancing, just so you know.
Yeah. So I was refusing to get on social media right from the start, and all my back end guys that are involved at Orange Brick Road, they're like, "You got to have a social presence." And I don't want a social presence.
You're not social.
So
you don't
I
like
relented. I relented, and I went, "All right, we'll do a Facebook." And then it turned into Twitter. Then I went into LinkedIn, which got kicked off. Been kicked off Facebook a couple of times today, which I'm proud of. And now I've finally relented. I'm on the Instagram and TikTok and stuff.
I'm
about as fucking modern as it gets, brother. Check me out.
Yeah, man, you can't avoid. And I think we're doing really well because this 30-minute podcast, it's just broken 50 minutes.
Yeah,
we're doing very well indeed.
Well,
it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. I really have enjoyed this, and my word, I've learned a lot. So,
man.
Yeah, look, once again, get on board orangebrickroad.com.au. This has been Crypto Hour of Power on Edge Radio.